Welcome to another episode of the Brown Bostonian podcast. I am your host, Kevin Pennington Turner. We're here with another episode to the Brown Bostonian show. You're gonna keep it quick. The Patriots lost to the Seahawks in a close one, overtime. 23-20 was the last second field goal or overtime field goal that the Patriots ultimately caught their demise. It was a close game throughout the whole thing. Primarily, Jacoby Brissett, 15 for 27, 149 yards, one touchdown throw to Jalen Polk, the freshman. I mean, the rookie out of Washington. Uh, you know, the Patriots did get a turnover on downs. So they did get a turnover, like I said, they'll need if they want to stay in games. They need a turnover every game. They got it. But ultimately, it was the offense when it mattered most that couldn't get it done. I mean, Antonio Gibson played well, 11 carries, 96 yards. Hunter Henry, 8 receptions, 109 yards. So the offense played fairly well. They moved the ball in certain ways. They did a lot of screens, a lot of play actions, ran the ball really well, a lot of misdirections, which you want to see with a team that doesn't have that much talent wise in terms of one-on-one guys, in terms of speed. They don't really have that offensively. So the Patriots doing what they did, they got it done. Offensively, they did what they had to do. Defensively, there was some blunders in the secondary. DK Metcalf got a big play early in the game. Lockett also had some big plays. Geno Smith played well, especially on third downs. In the overtime, overtime is just always so interesting because both teams are tired. So it really just matters who has the ball, who gets the ball and who has a better situation going at hand. And it was the Seahawks. Uh Jawan Bentley's out possibly for the rest of the season with a torn pec. So that doesn't bode well for the Patriots defense, which is always going to be the heavy part of their team, of what's going to be the reason why they win and lose games. So offensively, I saw some things that I did like, but what I want to go into takeaways for the Patriots is offensively, which we expected. It's I thought that the misdirections, the running the ball, the getting to the tight ends, seeing if the wide receivers can do anything, in which they could. I thought that was, was some good coaching, and the offensive line played well. They played well. A lot of clean pockets. Sometimes Jacoby Brissett escaped a little bit too early out the pocket and ran, and started to scramble and put himself in some danger. He didn't really lose the game for the Patriots either. I think it was more so the Seahawks took it, but nonetheless, it's the third downs, it's the fourth downs, and it's in tight spots. You need a playmaker. That's really what it is. Hunter Henry's good, Gibson's good, Ramondre Stevenson's good. But in reality, you need a playmaker. The line is good. I think the Patriots offense is average at best, which is okay if you have a really good defense, but the defense is losing some of their players since the beginning of the season with Matthew Judon and now Juwan Bentley. And, now with the Seahawks, I saw the Patriots struggle to get to the quarterback sometimes. I saw a lot of clean pockets. I saw, you know, Smith roll out and deliver some throws, and it was struggling time for the Patriots in that defense. In that secondary, they had some blunders. They played well for most of it, but obviously the blunders is what you're gonna look at. You know, it was a couple of miscommunications. They was playing zone, and someone didn't get who they had to get. They both found us some double team and leaving the guy wide open. So nonetheless, I mean the Seahawks. I expected they're good. They got playmakers on offense, and that Patriots defense matched up fairly well, but it just came into overtime, and obviously towards the end of the game in the fourth quarter to put the game up six. Patriots got in field goal range. It was a block punt, I mean block kick, excuse me, block field goal, and now the Seahawks, they march down the field, they get a field goal, they tie it up, and then Jacoby Brissett gets the ball back with a couple of seconds left on the under a minute left in the game, but couldn't get enough first downs to get in field goal range again. So it's stuff like that. Like he's not necessarily Jacoby Brissett isn't losing the game for the Patriots. He's not throwing interceptions. He's not getting bad fumbles. He's not doing anything that's not asked more of him. He's not doing anything more that's asked but he's not winning the games. You need a playmaker. They don't have it. That's really what it is, and that's just what happens in the free agency when you're not, becoming aggressive of getting those playmakers. And the reason why is when those playmakers, I'm sure when they get to talking to the coaches and asking, "Hey, who do you have? What do we like? What do we got?" And it's just like, well, we got an okay offensive line. We got a good tight end. We got a good running game, quarterback, and it's just like it doesn't entice a superstar free agent to want to come to New England. Why would they? It's like that's just gonna. It just seems like frustration. We see Devontae Adams when he was in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, wanted to go and get some more money, went to the Raiders, and now we see clips of him upset. We see him on the field being upset. He's playing a little bit better. That they're trying to get the ball to him more, but last year we saw him visibly upset on that bench, and that's what happens. When you go into a place where the quarterback's not that good, but the defense is okay and other pieces around him, but you're gonna spend a lot of time running routes, and by the time you turn around, the play's over because it was a sack or it was an incompletion or they didn't get the ball to you because the quarterback can't make that throw that's required because they have their best corner on you. So, nonetheless, for the Patriots, it's a tough go. I don't think it's over yet. I do see them being flirting around with 500 in their record if they're lucky. Maybe a second. I see a second rankings in the AFC East being in the second spot at best, because the Bills I think are going to start heating up and be the Bills. I think the Jets after they won this past week, I think they're gonna. And that brings me to the next point. Next it's Thursday in a couple of days, quick turnaround for the Jets and the Patriots. Jets and the Patriots they play each other. It's going to be in here where I'm at, right now from Boston, but where I'm at is going to be played in the tri-state area. And Aaron Rodgers, Brees Hall, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, all those guys on both the offense and defense for the Jets. They'll get a shot. They just beat the Titans in a close game. Patriots lost in a close game. So even though Aaron Rodgers is good, he's still showing that he could play and he has the weapons. I don't know if he has the good offensive line for it, but he does have a solid running back, good wide receiver, really good wide receiver, good core of groups. I think the Jets aren't necessarily one of the best teams in the AFC East, and I think this game is really going to be important. I mean, you can say that against with every division game, especially for the Patriots. They play the Dolphins, they play the Jets, they play the Bills. All those games are going to be tough, but this is really important to see where the Patriots stand. I think they can sneak out with a win against the Dolphins, who Tua, he suffered an injury this past week, concussion that we don't know what's going to happen with him. I don't know. The Bills, no Stephon Diggs. We've seen the Bills struggle, but they're starting to get it together. But you saw them beat the Dolphins this past week. So it's I think if the Patriots could beat the Jets, I think this Thursday is going to be very important for the season to see what happens. It's on the road, so I would like to see it at home and then have the Patriots go on the road against the Jets later in the season. But it is what it is because both teams are 1-1 now. So this is really a big one that I think will come down to if playoff wise, because this AFC East, I think it's a really tough division this season. I don't see too many weeks. I mean, obviously the Patriots are probably the most under the radar team compared to the rest, but now with Tua hurt, now with the Jets, and Aaron Rodgers playing well, but we don't know. And Bills, I think it's a race. It's a race. I don't know if I see the Patriots at number one, but I do see them being competitive the whole time. It starts right here. Bentley, he's out. Brissett is showing us that he's not going to throw for 300 yards a game unless he gets two big plays and then manages the game, which I can't be too mad at. Hunter Henry, he's showing to be one of the top guys. Jalen Post coming together. Antonio Gibson showing that he deserves to be next to Ramondre Stevenson as one of the top running backs. So the offensive line is doing okay. The special teams could do better. That's something you don't usually see with the Patriots, but the special teams could do better. The secondary didn't have their best games Sunday, but didn't have their best showing. But it, I hope the Patriots can win this because they do have a chance. It's just going to be tough. I see another close game. I see another really close game that's in the 20s. And that if you're a Patriots fan, that's what you want. You want every game to be in the 20s. If it's a high scoring game, if a team scores over 30 points against the Patriots, I don't think the Patriots have the offensive talent enough to keep up with it. But if it's under 30 points, if it's 21, 23, 24, around that range where it comes down to field goals and it comes down to one, first down, I think that's where the Patriots are best, have their best chances. That's just how I feel. If I had to give a prediction, I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I'm gonna go with the Patriots in a close one. I think it's gonna be a 24, 20, 21, 24, 17 type of game. Uh what I saw with the Jets, if there's a good secondary and they can get to the quarterback, they're in trouble. I know that the Patriots, I think they'll find someone who can do it. I know they're losing guys to injuries, which is concerning, but I do think the Patriots are able to pull it out. Now, the rest of the NFL recap. Cowboys are in trouble. I know it's early to say. The Saints are looking amazing with Derek Carr. Shaheem, like they Kamara, they look insane. The defense, the offense, the defense is getting turnovers. Offensively, they're scoring every time. It just seems like it. They just look so dominant because they're so good on every phase of football. But the Cowboys struggled, man. I mean, C. Liam got the money, Dak got the money. The offensive line is, there was some faults there, but if the Cowboys want to get into a deep run in the playoffs, which I already said, there's always going to be something wrong. It just seems like it's a little early. I do think the Cowboys going to win games this regular season. They're still going to have above 500 record, be a playoff team, but I think this past week just showed like against an NFC team, like they're not one of the top guys. They're not. They're just not. Like, what are they going to do against? I mean, the Eagles. I'm gonna get to that, but even the Eagles can give them problems. Saints can give them problems. Falcons can give them problems. I think the Packers can give them problems, whether Jordan Love's there or not. 49ers are going to give them problems, clear problems. Cowboys defense is just struggling, but I think their defense is getting too much slack because the offense has issues moving the ball. So the defense doesn't get too much of a breather. Nonetheless, I mean, they lost to the Saints 44-19. It is what it is. Eagles, I got a chance to watch that game last night because my fantasy team was about to lose, but thank goodness we did not. But I got a chance to see that game. It was bad. Eagles was about to win it, but here come, they gave it to Saquon Barkley on a rollout. On the third down, he drops the ball. Clock stops. Falcons didn't have a timeout left. They could have ran the ball to Saquon Barkley on a I believe it was a 3rd and 1. They could have just ran the ball. They would have got a first down. Game's over. There's nothing else to do. If not, the clock runs. You still give it to Saquon Barkley. So I didn't really understand. I understood it, but it was just bad. Bad clock management, bad play calling. And then Kirk Cousins drove down the field. It looked like with ease. He just drove down the field, looked like a veteran, looked poised. And the Falcons got it 22-21. The Eagles, week one they struggled. I get it, no Brown, but I mean last year they struggled against the Patriots. They have a tendency of struggling against teams they're supposed to beat. I mean, there's no Kelsey on that line. You know, they don't have the same dominance as they once had. I think the Eagles are still among the better teams in the NFC that can beat a team that can give teams like the Cowboys issues, but they could also find issues against regular teams like I think the Falcons or the Vikings. So the Eagles overhyped, maybe. Next, 49ers, they lost to the Vikings 23-17. Chris McCaffrey, he's having the Achilles issues, and someone who tore the Achilles, I hope he does well. It's not popped. I believe he's having Achilles tendonitis, so he's going to be out for like a couple of weeks, a couple of games. I know for week one, we saw the 49ers do well against the Jets and move the ball, but that was at home. Everyone's fresh. So I think as the season goes, especially with Brock Purdy, we got to see what he's made of now because their receiving group is okay. They're having issues too, but with injuries. But we're gonna have to see what Brock Purdy's really made of now. I think that's what it really comes down to. The offensive line is pretty good. He still has weapons next to him. Still has a good running back. Uh, but it's gonna. I think next week is gonna tell us all. This week, I don't think it was. I'm sure. I feel like the 49ers might have had McCaffrey in the game plan. So I think next week is gonna tell it all. Next, Colorado defeats Colorado State 28-9. I got a chance to watch that game Saturday night. I'm gonna just keep it short. Try to keep it short and sweet as possible. Colorado looked good. Shador Sanders, 36 for 49, 310 yards, 4 TDs. Travis Hunter played amazing, 13 catches, 100 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 interception. It was just insane performance from Travis Hunter. What you expect against lesser teams, he's going to look amazing. So is Shador. The offensive line didn't give up a sack. They got some pressure, but they didn't give up a sack, and they played better. They played well, and that defense, I think that defense is coming alive. I know they scored 9 points, but in reality, it was really three. The second half touchdown towards the end of the game made it nine. And then they went for the 2 point conversion, couldn't get it. So that defense is coming alive. I think the offense is still has some things to figure out. They still got 109 rushing yards. So Colorado looked good compared to last year when it took overtime to get rid of Colorado State, which made everyone like, oh my goodness, this is not good. And it was a good bounce back from the Nebraska loss, the Nebraska blowout that we saw. Do I think Colorado got back on track with this game? I do. I do. They play Baylor next week. They play Baylor next. Um, and I think they got a shot to win. I think this is really good momentum. They're 2-1. However you want to slice it, they're still above 500. They're still gonna. I don't think they're gonna be a playoff team. I don't think they're gonna be amongst the best. I don't think they're ever gonna be ranked top 25 this season. It'll take. They have the schedule to do it if they get some wins against the teams. They have a tough schedule, but I don't see it. I don't see it happening. They still got 12 penalties. They still got a fumble. They still lost a fumble. They still got a missed field goal in the first half of the game. There's still a lot of areas against the top teams that can't happen. They almost gave up a field goal at the end of the half, right at the end of the half, but Colorado State, the kicker missed it. But what I also just don't like is the time management that Colorado lacks. I understand it is a rivalry match. There was talking, drawing against each other, each team before the game, as it did last year. And you want to blow out the team as much as possible, but it was bad time management. I guess Shador has the green light to switch plays and do everything, but I think there needs to be, Pat Sherman, the offensive coordinator. I think he needs a little bit more control. Maybe he does have it, but I just didn't see too much class and too much respect up for the game, not for the opponents, for the game, for Colorado. And it just seemed like Colorado's not used to winning games. When I say winning games, I don't mean after the game is finished. I mean in the second half when they're winning. It seems like they don't know how to act. Uh, Last year we saw against Stanford when they lost a big lead. We saw it week one this year when they was up in poor clock management. They got you know, Dakota State got the ball back and almost scored and won the game, but it didn't happen. It seems like they don't know what to do when they're winning. They don't know how to just run the ball, get a first down, go down, and end the game. It's concerning, but I nonetheless they got the win. Colorado, they got the win against Colorado State. I think we all move on from this and see what they can really do. I think Travis Hunter just showed more, proved more of his Heisman debate. I think Shador Sanders is a little bit down out of the Heisman debate. Still working on his own draft stock, but nonetheless, man, Colorado, they won. They did it. It's all football right now for most of these episodes for the Brown Bostonian show. Uh, but nonetheless, we'll be here giving predictions, giving my recaps of what I think, my analytics views. Catch me on the brownbostonian.com. Catch me on the app.com. Uh, Anywhere you can find me, please don't be afraid to like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. I appreciate y'all. I'm your host, Kevin Parrington Turner. See you next week. Peace.